So going back to Frank Amadeo, how close are you to being done with this book?
I'm probably a week away from being done.
A week away?
Yeah, from being done. Then I have to send it, have a bunch of people read it.
Oh, okay.
You know,
who reads it for you?
I mean, I've got just friends, like my friend Stacy will read it.
Oh, you mean read the audio version, or just like read it to catch misspellings or like
no,
typos?
just read it to catch misspellings, typos. You know, okay. Who knows what I did. I actually have a bunch of guys that have contacted me. I had this chick that read one of my books and called a bunch of. She had bought it, read it, contacted me and said, "Look, you know, you got a few typos." And I was like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you want me to read it and catch the typos?" I was like, "Sure." She did a great job.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, you know, people have to read the book. Somebody might.
I really want Frank to come on this podcast, but I don't think he's going to do it.
I don't know.
Mr. Amadeo.
I don't know. I don't know what happened with that.
Does he know that you're selling shirts with his face on it?
I'm actually not selling shirts. I'm actually not. That's nice.
You're trying.
No, I'm not. If you look at, there's none on the store.
You took them off? That's smart.
Yeah. I sent it to you, just like, hey, look at this.
Oh, that was like a dry run.
Yeah, I didn't. But
Okay.
they're not on the. They're
That's
not in the store.
Yeah.
His story's on. Like I have a shirt with his story on it.
Oh, okay.
It's Insanity. That's got a little picture of him, but it's a little tiny picture. It's not like not like the one you saw.
Yeah.
So
that's great.
Is anybody watching this thing?
Yeah. No, nobody's watching.
Yeah.
200 people.
200 people in the chat right now.
Do you pay attention to anything going on in the world like of real estate or in the world of finance?
I watch Graham Stephan sometimes.
Graham Stephan?
Yeah, I watch him sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you watch him?
Stephan?
We had him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, it's unrealistic. Some of the stuff, like the houses that he talks about and stuff, it doesn't really relate to Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like you're buying a $2 million house or a $1 million house, or okay, well, people getting into real estate, you know, aren't typically buying those types of properties. But overall, basically everything he's saying is accurate. I watched one the other day who talked about credit.
Yeah, he's actually has a lot of really solid information.
Yeah, he's got
about
solid
credit and how to like
super
build
solid.
your credit up. It's like really cool stuff. Yeah, he's a smart kid.
Yeah, he's great. But you know, the only problem is when he starts talking about like, you know, as soon as he starts saying $1 million, $2 million, or you're like, gee, are you serious? I mean, as soon as I hear those numbers, I'm like, and then you know, but it's California. You can buy a ranch in California for $2.5 million. The same one you'd buy here for $150,000 or $200,000.
I know, it's insane.
It is outrageous.
I was just looking in Texas, the price to buy a house, like you would look at a house on the beach here that would go for like $5 million.
Right.
You can buy a house identical to that in Texas for like $300,000-$400,000 grand.
Is it on the beach though?
Yes, on the like same. I'm talking about like the same exact house,
Same
both on
setup.
the water, but it's like 3 times the price here at least in Florida on the Gulf Coast.
It's insane. I look at houses in Ybor City where I was buying them for $40,000 and $50,000, $60,000. Houses are selling for $200,000, $250,000, and it's like that's $250,000. That would
Imagine if you still owned a couple of those.
Yeah, well, that's that boat sailed.
Do you think Graham Stephan is all the numbers that he talks about and all the big money he talks about? Do you think it's
I mean, I think
legitimate?
it's I think it's legit. I think it's
because
legit.
he makes most of his money off YouTube.
He does now.
He doesn't make like his ratio from income, like from his real estate versus YouTube,
right.
is I would say probably 90% YouTube,
right
10% real estate.
It's like
I don't know for sure, but that's what I guess.
That's what I guess that's his niche, right? So it's like these guys that do the seminars where they teach you how to flip houses, and it's like, okay, well, why are you teaching? You know, if you're so amazing at flipping houses, you can make so much money. Why aren't you flipping houses?
Right.
And of course, well, why? Because 80-90% of my income is derived from teaching these courses.
selling the courses.
I make way more, and it's way easier to do that course than it is to actually go out and flip the houses. And there's not as much risk. And
yeah, it's a problem because that's what happens with a lot of people, especially in real estate or other online courses. They build up like this huge audience where people like them. They have this big fan base. They're like, fuck, now let me figure out something to sell so I can make more money.
Right.
So you think, oh, this guy's really good at this one thing. He's like a guru at finance or real estate or whatever the fuck it might be. selling cotton candy, and they just sell that thing because it's just an additional revenue to their income from
but
YouTube or
eventually,
their media.
A
their
lot
videos.
of times, it eventually becomes their entire revenue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're a stockbroker giving stock advice, and before you know it, you're not really buying.
You're
and
not
selling
even a
any stock
stockbroker
at all.
anymore. Yeah.
You're making more money
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that's what's happened with
There's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened with Graham Stephan. He probably started the channel off just to do it, have something to do it on the side. Maybe I can build it up. It'll be a little bit extra money. And the next thing you know, he did it for a year or so. And the next thing you know, it probably started ballooning up. And he started realizing, hey, if I really focus on this.
It makes him more money to focus on
Right.
making the content than it does to actually do the stuff he's talking about.
Right. And it's probably more fun and less work for his personality. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, he's got an interesting personality.
Does he want to drive around all day, drive people around, show them houses, look, spend days with people, and then they end up, we decided not to do it. Or we're going, guess what? The last minute, we found another house. My wife's cousin's a realtor. I didn't know it, and he's got a house. We found that one. We're going to go with him.
Yeah.
I spent a week driving around.
God, that's got to be such a pain in the ass to be a
it's gotta be
real estate
horrible.
agent or a
Horrible.
real estate broker. What an awful job.
It really is. It's a horrible job. Rehabbing's a horrible job. Being a mortgage broker is a horrible job. You get these people that come in.
Lousy.
They come in. They waste your time. You tell them to get all these documents. They lie to you. I love it when people would come on and just blatantly lie to me. And then you say, okay, I need this and this and this. And they're like, I don't have that. Really? So you make $200,000 a year working for this law firm, but you can't provide a W-2 or your taxes.
Yeah.
Stop it. What are you doing? You pull their credit. It's crap. You're like, what are you doing? Don't lie to me, bro. I'm trying to help you here. Tell me what the deal is. I'll figure it out. But they just suck. People suck. That's why I started getting rid of all the people. They were too hard to deal with. So I just started fabricating all the documents and making fake people. Like
This is too much work.
There's too much problem.
It's easier to
dealing with
create
these
fake
guys.
people.
They
don't
lie
have
to you.
to
They
listen
quit
to
their
'em.
they quit their jobs like 3 days before. I had a guy I was getting him like $60,000 out of his house. So your closing's on like Tuesday, and then like on Monday he knew the closing was the next day. Like he walks in and quits his job, and they call
Jesus.
the mortgage company calls like the day before and says, hey, does Mr. Johnson, work there? And they go, well, actually he did, but he just quit. He's leaving with his boxes right now. And you're like,
What the fuck?
They would actually call the day before closing?
yeah, I've had them. You know what's so funny? Usually they call a few days or a week before. I've had them call after the closing, which always killed me. And I only know this because I'm the borrower. So I make a fake person, and
they
then
call you
they
after.
never called to verify, which is not uncommon. And then it was like, hey, they never did call. And I thought, that's weird. And then like a week later, they call. Hi, just checking to make sure that Gary Sullivan, is works there. And it's like, I got checks in the bank. I'm already removing the cash. What if he didn't work there? Of course, I always said, absolutely, he still works here. But
Numb nuts?
I mean, and it's not once. We're talking about multiple times that's happened.
Yeah.
They're just they're overwhelmed or something. I don't know.
What if you're self-employed? Then what? How do you,
You
how
have
do
to
you
provide 2 years, 1040s. You have to provide your taxes.
2 years of 1040s,
Yeah.
right? But then who are you going to call to verify it?
Well, you don't. You can if it's in the middle of the year. If it's like in the second quarter, then they'll typically ask for like a profit or loss, or sometimes a certified profit or loss. Like
Yeah.
they want an actual your CPA or like an accountant to actually
Yeah.
certify this is what he's made to date. Or they'll ask for a copy of your bank statements or something just to
Yeah.
kind of prove, hey, he is making money. He is still making money.
Yeah.
And then they had the whole light doc programs where they would ask for like 12 months worth of your bank statements.
And don't they have to figure out? They have to figure. I remember this specifically is that your debt to income,
your DTI.
including your mortgage, your DTI your debt has to be less than I think 40% of your total income. Is that what it was?
Well, I mean, if it depends on if it's like FHA's like under like 41%. If it was subprime, it was typically under like 45
What's
or 50%.
subprime?
It's like where the banks are just making their own rules.
Okay.
If it's conventional,
so the banks can make those rules for themselves. It's
Yeah,
not like a standard.
no.
There's no like federal guidelines.
no,
for
that's
that.
if it's if it's standard, like a conventional loan,
Yeah.
which is like set by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, then those are considered, conventional loans. Those are the ones with the really good interest rates because you're borrowing from the Fed. Well, those your DTI would have to be like below 36%. Or 38%, depends on the program. But yeah, below 36. So it's your new mortgage payment, all the monthly bills showing up on your actual
Bank statement,
credit report.
credit report.
So if
they
your
don't
car
look-
payment, your car payment, your minimum credit card balance, your minimum credit card payments, plus your new mortgage, all of that together, your reoccurring debt, monthly debt, all that together divided by whatever you make in a month.
But wait, they don't go through your bank statements and look at how much you're spending on gas, how much you're spending on groceries, how
No.
much shit you're buying, how much.
No.
They could
No.
they could look
Unless
at, so say for example you make 50 grand a month, right?
Right.
And you only have one car payment and a mortgage right now, and that may only add up to 10 grand a month, right?
And you're W-2'd? Are you an employee or are you self-employed?
Self-employed.
Well, then they would ask for your 1040s. Like, hey, if you made 600,000 last year and let's say 590,000 or 550,000 the year before, which is basically $50,000 a year, and you said, hey, it's now July and I've been making 60,000, they already have something to base that off on. We got 2 years taxes that show he makes about 50,000. So now they're going to look at your bank statements and say he's making 100,000. He's spending this much every month going out to pay employees and whatever. He still has about 100,000, about 50,000 left. Plus, he's got. Then they might. That's assuming they don't request a CPA to do a certified
Right. I guess
year to date.
To simplify my question is DTI, they don't look at money in, money out of your bank account. They only look at what's on the debt on your credit report to figure out what your DTI is.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
okay.
The simplest version of that
Okay.
the simple answer is yes. They typically don't ask for your bank statements unless they're just looking for where your down payment's coming from.